everyone, I have big news. I've decided to move back home to Africa. To do what exactly? But you have a good job here.
Wait, are you in trouble? Did something happen? Wait, are you in trouble? Did something happen?
Did you know that over 20 million people born in Africa live outside the continent? They live for better educational opportunities, economic advancement, political stability, and functioning infrastructure. I was one of them. We're told that the West is the land of opportunity, a meritocracy, where hard work guarantees success. And some of that is true. But we're not told that after you arrive, you discover you're a black immigrant in a country with deep anti immigrant sentiment. Your qualifications are questioned. Your accent becomes a barrier. You are overqualified for some jobs and not the right fit for others. It becomes exhausting after some time. Then there's the isolation. Nobody drops by unannounced. Friendships feel transactional. And if you're in a cold climate, those winters will have you depressed until spring finally rolls around after what feels like a decade. So, after years or decades abroad, many of us decide to move back to Africa, only to be faced with a reverse culture shock amongst other issues. Welcome back to my channel. This is Diaspora, and today we're discussing what nobody tells you about returning to Africa after building a life somewhere else. So why do people move back? Some hit career ceilings. You've made good money, but you're tired of the invisible barriers. You tacitly understand without being told that this is as far as you're going to be allowed to go. Some returnees have aging parents who need care. Some want their kids to know their culture and their extended family. Some believe they can make more of an impact at home than as just another immigrant worker abroad. Some just want to get back home to Al-Kebulan after centuries of separation. But until remote work happened, we had no idea how we were going to pull it off. How were we going to move back home while still earning relatively good money? Then COVID hit, and we were all sent home to work from our laptops. Suddenly, it was possible, technically, to earn Western salaries from African time zones. By the way, I created a 10 ways expats make money remotely video, so feel free to check it out. I'll add the link here. Everyone's approach is different, of course. Single people have better flexibility and might test shorter stays before committing. Family with kids stress about schools and healthcare. Some do sabbaticals, 6 to 12 months to see if it works. Others burn bridges and move permanently. But no matter how you approach it, we all share more or less the same expectations of the journey back. Well, you think you're going home. You think you'll finally belong. That you slot right back in, like a key into a lock that was made for you. That your degree and experience will open doors. That your savings will stretch further. That infrastructure has improved since you left. You've watched the Africa Rising videos. You've seen the new airports, the tech hubs, the shopping malls. You believe the hype. You imagine contributing your expertise, being valued, sunshine, community, connection, purpose. But here's what's actually going to happen. Full disclaimer, this isn't about complaining. It isn't trying to paint Africa in a negative light. This is about discussing some of the challenges you might face as a returnee or an expat, and ways to overcome them. Number one, there might be a reverse culture shock. You land and something feels off. Things that used to be normal now frustrate you. The inefficiency, the casual acceptance of dysfunction, the way systems just don't work and nobody seems bothered by it. You mention it and people look at you like you're the problem. You've been away too long, they say. You need to learn to be more flexible. You need to roll with the punches. This is Africa. You eventually realize that you're not fully from home anymore. Your brain has been rewired. The way you think about time, about how things should function, it's all different now. And there's nobody to talk to about it because locals think you're complaining and other returnees or even expats are pretending everything's fine. You may once again get the feeling of not really belonging, even though you're supposed to be home in the motherland. Number 2, everyone thinks you're rich. Yup, everyone assumes you have money, and by local standards, you probably do. Suddenly, you're expected to fund emergencies, contribute to weddings and funerals, employ distant relatives, invest in every business idea. The requests are constant, sometimes from complete strangers, from panhandlers who follow you thinking you must have something for them, from petty traders in the market who somehow peg you as foreign, even though you might look like everyone else. They can see you're different. Maybe it's your gait, your accent, your mannerisms, your clothing, who knows? But expect some hands in your pockets, figuratively speaking. Number 3, your credentials don't matter like you thought they would. You have degrees from top universities, 20 years of experience, certifications, a professional track record. None of it matters as much as you expected because networks often matter more than credentials. Who you know, who your family knows, which group you belong to, those open doors your resume can't. Less experienced people might get opportunities because they're connected. And even when you do get in, you might be offered salaries that are far below your expectations. The frustration of being underutilized, of having valuable skills nobody seems to want, can be demoralizing. Number 4, infrastructure is complicated. There might be infrastructure issues in whatever country you decide to settle in, some worse than others. In countries like Rwanda, Botswana, Mauritius, electricity is stable more or less. Roads are maintained. Public services actually function more or less. You'll have occasional issues, but nothing too frustrating, hopefully. But in some other countries, it's a daily battle. I'm looking at you, Nigeria, and I can say that because I'm Nigerian. Power outages multiple times a day, water disappearing for weeks, internet crashing during important calls, roads destroying your car, healthcare that sends you abroad for anything serious. If you're doing remote work for Western companies, infrastructure failures aren't just inconvenient, they are career threatening. You need backup generators, inverters, multiple internet providers, water storage. These costs add up fast. Number 5, the cost of living isn't as low as you think. Yes, labor is cheaper when compared to the West. Local food is cheaper. But if you would like to maintain anything close to your lifestyle abroad, the costs escalate fast. Imported goods cost more than they did abroad. Quality appliances, decent furniture, electronics, reliable tools, they all typically cost more than what you paid in the West. Add private insurance, international schools if you have children, secure housing, backup power, bottled water, car maintenance on terrible roads, it all adds up. Your savings don't stretch like the calculators promised, especially if you want to maintain an upper middle class lifestyle. Number 6, safety varies by country. Safety is another depends where you are situation. Rwanda, you can walk freely. Crime rates are low, it's genuinely safe. Same with places like Mauritius or Seychelles. But with some other countries on the continent, security begins a daily calculation. High walls and guards, avoiding certain areas, not walking alone after dark, constant vigilance about who's around, who knows your whereabouts, who might see you as a target. It's not paranoia, it's realistic risk management. But that means a low level hypervigilance that you can never turn off. Number 7, your mental health can take a hit. This one is a delicate dance and depends on whether or not you have a support system. It also depends on that flexibility mentioned earlier. Imagine you decide to start a business and you get scammed. There are so many stories about this online. You return home and decide to start a restaurant business only to find out that your staff is stealing from you. Or the most recent one I heard about, a mobile phone shop owner who tried to operate his business from the West, traveling back and forth to his home country, only to find out that one of his workers broke into the safe and stole the entire inventory. Losing that much money or trying to bail out a failing business, knowing that it's failing because of dishonesty from people you hired, people you partnered with, people you trusted, can be very damaging to your mental health. Number 9, the first year is you in survival mode. In that first year, everything feels harder than it needs to be. Opening a bank account takes multiple visits. Getting permits involves Byzantine bureaucracy. Simple tasks become all-day projects. You will want to leave multiple times. You'll question everything. This is normal. Most people hit a crisis point between months 4 and 8. Some leave, others push through. So what actually helps if you're considering returning to Africa or have already returned? Because we are not going to spend this entire video highlighting the issues without discussing solutions. Well, having money helps. So have a nice cushion of savings, ideally between 12 to 18 months saved, not 6. Things cost more and take longer than you think. Work on getting multiple income streams, remote work, consulting, online business, anything not dependent on local systems. Have realistic expectations. It won't be like abroad. Systems will fail. Progress will be slow. Accept that now, not 6 months in when you're already resentful. Invest in private infrastructure solutions. Depending on the country you're in, you might need to invest in backup power, water systems, reliable internet. Build systems that work around dysfunction instead of fighting it constantly. Find your community. You also need to find trustworthy people. Find other returnees, progressive locals, international professionals, people who get your dual perspective. Don't isolate yourself, okay? Keep your options open. Don't burn bridges abroad. Moving back doesn't have to be permanent. Knowing you can leave reduces pressure, but still try to make it work in Africa if you have the resources to do so. If nothing else, you won't ever have to experience winter if you don't want to. By the way, there's a place in Africa called Lesotho, a mountainous region where you can ski if you like that sort of thing. Have patience aplenty. Everything takes 3 times longer than expected. Business deals that close in weeks abroad take months in Africa. Triple your timelines for everything. It is what it is. If you're able to make moving back to Africa work for you, it's glorious. The fact that you're not a minority at first glance, that alone is worth it for some people. You can live an upper class lifestyle with the exact same amount of money you were earning in the West, sometimes even with less money. I'm talking live-in housekeeper, chauffeur-driven car, the occasional chef. Laundry? What laundry? You can afford a laundry service now. So who should actually move back to Africa? Real talk, not everyone should move back, and that's fine. But you might be a good candidate for Black Sit to Africa if you have remote income or portable skills, you're comfortable with uncertainty, you have realistic expectations, not romanticized ones, you can afford infrastructure investments, you're emotionally flexible, you're willing to give it 2 to 3 years before judging, you're okay with failing and trying again in the future. But think twice though. If you're running from problems abroad, they will follow you. You expect it to be easy, it's not. You can't afford 12 months of expenses with no income coming in. Your work needs consistent infrastructure, but you don't have the budget for private workarounds. You need immediate belonging. It might not happen. Not everyone should return. You can love Africa from afar and contribute from anywhere. There isn't necessarily a moral high ground in moving back. Do it for yourself and where you feel most comfortable after you weigh all the pros and cons. So there you have it. Moving back to Africa after decades abroad isn't the triumphant homecoming some promise or the disaster others warn about. It's complex and deeply personal. Some people adapt and build meaningful lives. Others realize it's not for them and leave. Both are valid. If you're considering this move, do your homework. Research infrastructure in your target country. Understand permits and visas. Have a financial cushion. Talk to people already there. Visit multiple times before committing. And if you're currently struggling, you're not failing. The first year or even the first few years is hard for almost everyone. Give yourself grace, give it time, and know that leaving isn't defeat, it's just data. The choice isn't about loyalty or identity, it's about where you can build a life that works for you. So have you moved back, or are you considering it? What's your experience, or what's stopping you? Drop it in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to Writing Diasporan for more honest conversations about Africa's past, present, and future. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.